workshops. I appreciate the noble thought, the sincere effort of Srimati Madhavi and her team to take up this esteemed cause of empowering the adolescent girls, which is the need of the hour. Adolescent girls should live a life free of violence and discrimination. Every girl, no matter where she is born, should have a chance to reach her potential. Every girl deserves to be welcomed to this world with the same joy and celebration as a boy. Every girl has the right to life and dignity. Every girl has the right to education. Every girl has the right to be a girl and not a child bride. Every girl has the right to live free of female genital mutilation. Every girl has the right to health, including sexual and reproductive health. I would want to focus on the 7 cornerstones of empowering adolescent girls from marginalized communities. As adolescent girls are heterogeneous groups in terms of their needs, approaches to empowering them must take into account the specific age-related issues. They must also ensure a strategic focus on areas that will have the highest impact on developing their future potential: health, education, agency, and income, and productivity. This requires a multi-sectoral approach involving all stakeholders in the 4 contexts of adolescent girls' lives, that is home, schoolwork, and the public space, and implemented through a focus on the 7 key areas which I will discuss in brief now. Firstly, promoting girls' agency and mobility. Agency refers to a girl's sense of self-worth or self-efficacy, her ability to make decisions and exercise choices. Agency is typically built through life skills education, also referred to as self-development or personality development. In the context of empowering adolescent girls, this means questioning and understanding of the self and others, rights, sexuality, and gender. Discussion of gender roles and expectations breaks stereotypes and encourages mutual understanding between males and females as well as between generations. Studies highlight that programs focusing on building young people's agency helps build negotiation and communication skills, broaden girls' horizons, raise awareness of sexual and reproductive matters, counter gender disparities, and inculcate a civics orientation. Secondly, addressing gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is one of the most prevalent human rights violations in the world. It knows no social, economic, or national boundaries. It undermines the health, dignity, security, and autonomy of people living with it, yet remains shrouded in a culture of silence. Young adolescent girls are at a higher risk of experiencing physical or sexual violence owing to several socio-cultural factors. Justifications for violence frequently are on based gender norms, that is, social norms about the appropriate roles and responsibilities of men and women. These cultural and social norms socialize males to be aggressive, powerful, unemotional, and controlling, and contribute to a social acceptance of men as dominant. Similarly, expectations of females as passive, nurturing, submissive, and emotional also reinforce women's roles as weak, powerless, and dependent on men. The socialization of both men and women results in an unequal power relationship. This is particularly true for adolescent girls who generally have low decision-making power within homes and might not share experiences of violence with families for fear of being shamed and blamed, or might not even be believed. However, at the program implementation level, it is important to advocate for policies and practices that promote gender equality and equal treatment of women and girls in their relationships, their families, and in society. Thirdly, delaying marriage and pregnancy. Child early marriage denies girls the opportunity to experience their formative years and discover themselves, their voices, and future aspirations. Early marriage means that adolescent girls take on the roles and responsibilities of adult married women in their husband's home far before they are mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to do so. This takes a toll on their education, health, well-being, and autonomy. Studies suggest that girls who married before the age of 18 were less likely than those married after 18 to have been involved in planning their marriage, reject wife beating, use contraceptives to delay their first pregnancy, or have their first birth at a health facility. Delaying the age of marriage and first pregnancy gives girls greater opportunities to develop their potential before taking on responsibilities associated with adulthood and ensure better outcome for future generations. Fourthly, staying in school. Education is often associated with long-term results over generations. However, educating girls has the potential to increase empowerment in a short time frame. Besides being an inherent right, education has the potential to improve life choices in numerous ways, from enhancing income earning potential and thus more negotiation power within the home, to delaying marriage and in turn childbearing, as well as encouraging better spacing of pregnancies and family planning. A number of studies have shown that women who are educated and employed report a much larger role in decision making at home and in their community. Education offers girls the opportunity to discover a world outside of their homes and communities and enables them to be more aware of their own abilities. It is estimated that each cohort of adolescent girls that drops out of secondary education would potentially have added 10.6 billion to the Indian economy through their lifetimes if they were allowed to continue their education. As fifth issue, I would want to dwell on improving sexual and reproductive health. Adolescent girls' health needs encompass reproductive and general health, involving the intricately related aspects of mental, emotional, and social well-being. The patterns of sexual behavior and health seeking behavior established during adolescence set the stage for adult health. Healthy sexual behaviors remain the start of sexual activity, negotiating with sexual relationships, and protecting against unwarranted pregnancies, HIV, AIDS, and sexually transmitted infections are fundamental to good sexual and reproductive health over many decades. Studies have shown that working with adolescents on issues related to sexual and reproductive health helps decrease maternal mortality and the prevalence of HIV, AIDS, and sexually transmitted infections. It also increases the age of marriage and first pregnancy and improves newborn and child health and nutrition status, sex education, nutritional education, awareness on menstrual hygiene, as well as awareness on violence and sexual coercion are important aspects of sexual and reproductive health. As sixth issue, the focus should be on increasing income generating potential. Programs that enable girls to acquire practical skills such as vocational training and financial literacy are the most direct ways to expand adolescent girls' economic options, especially when costs related to education are a burden on the families. Furthermore, enhancing economic opportunities for girls helps them gain income and postpone marriage and reduces their risk of being engaged in exploitative labor. Last but not least, the seventh issue for focus would be working with men and boys and intergender dialogue. Adolescent-focused programming that aims to transform gender norms and behaviors has typically worked with either boys or girls, rarely working with both sexes simultaneously to bring about change. There should be a movement towards encouraging programming that intentionally works with both sexes in mutually reinforcing ways based on growing consensus of the benefits that result from engaging boys and men as partners to empower girls and women. Some advocates argue for adopting an instrumental approach in which involving men and boys is mostly a means towards the goal of redressing gender inequalities and women's and girls' disadvantages. With this approach, men and boys may act as partners and or participants in programs designed to empower girls, but the focus is primarily on improving outcomes for girls. Another approach engages men and boys as full participants with an explicit acknowledgement of the benefits of greater gender equality for women and men. This approach, sometimes described as gender relational or gender synchronization, considers both girls and boys and women and men when designing programs that intentionally and mutually reinforce ways that challenges gender norms, catalyzes the achievement of gender equality, and improves health. As conclusion, I only want to say, decisions about how to work with adolescents should be based on an understanding of both gender dynamics and developmental differences. These decisions must also include the active participation and leadership of young people themselves with a focus on understanding their needs and desires at specific development stage. Interventions should strive to reach adolescents throughout their development rather than targeting one particular age. Supporting adolescents throughout the life stage allows lessons learned at earlier stages to be reinforced and for the introduction of content that is more appropriate to specific development points. Intervention should seek to involve as many of the players in the lives of adolescent girls as possible, that is, parents, peers, teachers, broader community, and be aware that the relative importance of each depends on developmental stage. Any intervention that aims to reach and empower adolescent girls directly should also strategically address the environment in which they live. Example, the normative, legal, and policy environment. Eliminating violence against women is an enduring value and goal that we must prioritize in all that we do. Because it is only when women and girls are able to live free from the fear of abuse and violence that they will be able to unleash their full talents. Today we all stand together to renew our commitments and redefine our efforts to prevent and address gender-based violence and create a culture that refuses to tolerate abuse in any form. I thank the organizers and in particular Srimati Nanda garu for launching this Swashakthi Smart YODHA workshops, and I believe though her target is set in for the year 2025 to organize around 1,000 such workshops, I believe she crossed that much earlier and with a great success.
Thank you, Your Lordship. You have focused on the key points of the problems faced by the adolescents and women